Hello and welcome to the Aaron Roussos podcast. Thanks for joining me today. This is part of a shorter series of podcast episodes just around addressing different things in life that, that we can see with common sense, but we may have maybe not had the time or effort to spend with it. And with this common sense series, I wanted to start with episode 1 just being about I've titled it, and I don't know if you've realised, but every podcast I've ever done, nothing has been pre-planned or written down. It's always been straight from heart and head. And this one, I've just started with the title, and it's called Single Use. And I guess this one is about in the healing field. So, there's been no one else on this planet who has been able to heal as many incurable diseases as I. And while the world is still not ready for that level of development, I just wanted to share a short podcast on why nothing that is ever a single use, whether it be a drug, whether it be ivermectin, chemo, radiation, apricot seeds, black seed oil, nothing in its individual single state will ever be the answer for a solution to a health problem or an incurable disease for a human being. It just is impossible. It just can't be done. And it defies physics, it defies laws, and I'll explain that to you. From where I sit, the reason why we don't have cures to many things is that we all know instinctively, every single person, if I asked them, they would understand that they are a body, mind, and soul. And they would also, in the same or next sentence, admit that doctors are only working with the physical. And if you wanted to go to those other areas, you need to go into different fields that are so far removed, but yet a doctor isn't taught those fields, and it would take them many years. They don't even dabble in those fields. They don't include those fields in what they do. And there you have the reason why they can't fix all of the problems that are going on with a human being that lives across three planes holistically. It's quite simple. And from a physics perspective, from a science perspective, and from me being a mathematician at heart, that's my number one. When my son was born all those years ago, on his birth certificate, I am classed as a numerologist. Okay. Mathematics is my thing. You can actually do amazing things with mathematics as a science. So the things that obviously, we're talking about healing here, things that cause many diseases. There is never a single disease that I guess is caused by one thing. If there was, it would be quite acceptable to have one thing, reverse it, heal it, and fix it. Even then, it'd be a bit of a stretch because we have no idea as a collective on Earth what the mental faculties, we understand that we can measure thoughts. We know that they're frequencies. We know that they impress on something within our body and can even affect chemicals because that's the way we operate. We think, and on the thermograph, if you looked at those imagery, you would see the light, the flash in the brain light up. That sends a signal to a chemical, and the chemical makes the movement. That's how your finger moves, right? When you're moving your finger. So we know all the pathways, we can measure them, we see them, but we don't know how the whole thing works altogether. And I guess all these things that cause disease on the planet are always a combination of things, and sometimes many things. And then, even then, you might have 20 things that are cause, let's use cancer, for instance. You might have 20 things that cause cancer, but yet it doesn't cause cancer in you at that moment in time. It might take 20 years of those 20 things being exposed to you, including EMFs, negative thoughts, fear, anguish, not being able to change things, that chemically just micro changing all these many things. And then after 20 years, you know what? You still might not get cancer. The final kicker to whether you get cancer after having 20 things that cause cancer and happen to you over 20 years, and then it's still you don't get cancer, the final kicker is a thing called homeostasis, which is just your body, your system, you're operating at optimum. And it does take into account, your picture, what you see, how you feel, your emotions, feeling good. At the moment, scientists do understand that our DNA isn't probably operating or what was given to us originally, and we don't understand that at all either, the whole mechanics of that, and that's okay. So this state of homeostasis, if that's lowered, okay, so our immune systems are shot, our DNA is not what was given to us, and so as a result, our state of homeostasis is lowered, and at the moment across Earth, we might call that normal. We might not know that there's better ways to feel. And then you have 20 things that cause cancer over 20 years, and then it gets to this homeostasis point that's lowered. It's oscillated down to a new level of being here on Earth, and because of the lowered state of homeostasis, cancer is allowed to enter. Now, we then, as human beings, okay, so let's flip from the truth and what is actually science and happening, and let's flip over now to being a human being, okay? We are now a human being. We have cancer. We haven't studied all these things I just spoke about, and we go to a doctor and he says, okay, what I want you to do is, we've had the results with, and doctors are people, helping people. It's a beautiful thing. And so they turn around and say, look, I want you to go on, we've had good results from radiation with this. Not 100%, never had, but look, 63% has good results from radiation. And it's not a hugely fast spreading or aggressive form of cancer. Let's hit it with some radiation. Now, you're still living with those 20 things that you've done for the last 20 years, and you're going and have some radiation that just treats the symptom or symptoms or the cancer itself. And so you can understand mathematically, from a mathematics point of view, there's no way that is going to 100% wipe out the cancer. And that directly relates to the results that we have in our societies, in our medical worlds right today. So there'll never be a single-use drug or treatment or thing that ever reverses or cures a disease. It will always be a combination. And more so, like in my healing programs, what you do is, if you add mathematically other things to that chemo, you'll eventually get to a stage where you can wipe out that. And unfortunately, your doctor doesn't have access to a naturopath, doesn't have access to nutritionists, doesn't have access to a breathwork facilitator, doesn't have access to all these naturally aligning practices and things and pieces and parts that can change the mathematical outcome of your disease. As you add things to that, stop doing the 20 things that caused it. The time doesn't have to be another 20 years to reverse these diseases, because beautifully, the human being hidden in plain sight is the human body already knows how to heal itself, right? We get a cut and it heals. We get a bruise, it heals. We break a bone, it might take 6 weeks, but it heals. Now, in these elevated states, when you get rid of all the 20 causes or even half of those, we're mathematically already in a better space. We're doing these new things. And we have now created a huge amount of chemical change within our biology. That is what the doctors deal with by doing these other naturally aligning therapies and things. And mathematically, we have increased the percentage of success of beating that cancer. And if you keep going, you can get it to a result of 100% each and every time, like in my protocols. So that's the first episode of the Common Sense series, the short series. We've gone for about 11 minutes at the moment, and I want to get off, but I just wanted to explain to you that the mathematics of it, and there will never be a single-use drug or treatment that will ever cure a major disease. Thanks for listening.